So you're looking to get into real estate and make a lot of money, but you don't have a real estate license. Well, don't worry about that, because in this video, I'm going to explain how you can start doing real estate deals today without a license. I'm going to tell you the 4 main ways where you can start doing deals today without a real estate license. And I personally have done all these methods myself that I'm getting ready to tell you, so it definitely works. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first way to do real estate deals without a license is called novations. And not a lot of people talk about novations. So this is a great method to utilize since your competitors aren't using this method. And with a novation, that does not mean you're buying the property. It just means that you're finding an end buyer for the property that you already have under contract, and you're finding that end buyer by putting the property on the market with an agent. So not you being licensed, but with another investor-friendly real estate agent that will put it on the market for you to find that end buyer. So what a novation does, it eliminates that original contract that you have with the seller. So when you go under contract with the seller, let's say you find a property and you offer the seller $100,000, you and the seller have that purchase and sell agreement for $100,000. And then when you enter and find that end buyer from putting it on the market, that novation agreement comes into play. And let's say you found that end buyer for $125,000. You are able to get that spread there. And what that novation agreement does is it eliminates your original agreement with the seller, and it becomes a new contract with that end buyer, but it still allows you to make sure that you get paid. And the number one best thing about doing a novation is getting that real estate agent in place. Like I said, you do not need your real estate license at all, but I do recommend you connect with an investor-friendly real estate agent that knows the market, that knows what they're doing. And what's amazing about novations is once that agent puts it on the market, it is sent out to so many online websites. So many buyers are going to be able to see that you have this great deal, this great opportunity. And it's not only going to be sent to investors, but also other clientele is going to be able to see that property to hopefully bid up your price and get you an even higher price of what you're expecting. And now I know this question is going to come up. And the question is, why would a seller go under contract with you and know that you're going to put it on the market? Like, why wouldn't they just put it on the market themselves with their own real estate agent? And yes, that does make some sense, right? Like, why wouldn't they just put it on the market with their own real estate agent? Well, it's because the seller likes convenience. Some sellers don't even want to deal with the property. They don't want to deal with hearing about the showings or hearing about the offers or anything like that. They literally want it off of their plate and they just want the money in their hand. So when you have a seller like that, novations are a great way to make deals happen where it's a win-win scenario. You're able to help the seller out, but you're also able to make a good profit as well. So now that I explained what a novation was and how you can start making money with them without a license, let me explain to you guys a real life example of how we utilize novations within our company. So I was cold calling one day and I came across a seller that wanted to sell. The situation was, it was a rental property, but her tenant recently passed away, so she no longer wanted to deal with the property. So first things first is made sure to set the appointment. My business partner went on the appointment and realized that the seller was around that $215 price or so. But for us to make it work, it just didn't make sense at that $215 price. So he was able to negotiate her down to $190, and we came to the conclusion of the purchase price of $190,000. But we told her the way we can make this work to be able to move forward with this deal and everything is we would need to do a novation. And we told her that a novation basically states that the property will still stay in the seller's name, so it will still stay in your name, but we will do some minor work to it just because we wanted to be able to increase the value. You don't always have to do work for your novations, but you can if you want. It just all depends. So we told her we would put some work into it and then list it for a higher price. And we are fully transparent about the whole process, and I recommend you be fully transparent as well, so no hiccups come later down the road. But once she agreed to the novation, we made sure to get all the documents signed. She gave us the keys to the property so we can start working on the property. Now, what we did was we didn't put like a crazy amount of work into it. Like, this wasn't a full-on fix and flip. We just knew that it was me, my partner, and some friends that are willing to put some work into it just to make sure it looks good, but also save some money. And actually, my family even came out to help us out as well. So what we did was, we painted the house, and not the full-on house, but the kitchen, the bathroom, the sunroom area. And the cool part about it was the seller actually even added a shed that she didn't even need to do that, but out of the kindness of her heart, she was like, let me just add a new shed. Didn't do anything about, adding fees or saying that I need more than 190 or anything like that. But she added a new shed to the property. We painted the kitchen cabinets, added new handles, just did a little bit of updating to the property to make sure it looked good for once we go to put it on the market. We made sure to get professional photos, and we were out there, probably it took us around 5 days or so to get everything all situated, get the photos up, get the dumpster removed from the property from putting all the trash in there, and then getting the property on the market with an investor-friendly agent that we knew. So he listed it on the market for us for $250,000. Now, it was sitting a little bit. I mean, we were getting some traction, but we were like, okay, let's do a price reduction. So we did a price reduction for $244,900. And there we go. We were able to get an offer, and we were able to close within 30 to 45 days after. So that was truly an amazing deal where we were able to guarantee the seller her 190 price, but she just had to worry about her mortgage. But in our case, from that 190 all the way to that 244.9 price, we told her we would take care of her closing costs and her realtor fees, so she wouldn't have to worry about that. And we were able to profit $39,596. So at the end of the day, she was happy, we were happy, the agent was happy. It literally was a win-win scenario for everyone. But that is how you can do a novation and make money without having your real estate license. Now, the second way you can start doing deals without a real estate license is a method called wholesaling. And wholesaling is basically the same way of doing a novation, but the difference is wholesaling, you need to get the price even more discounted than what a novation would be. And with wholesaling, you're not going to be putting it on the market with a real estate agent. You're actually going to be the one finding that end buyer yourself. So you're going to be making calls. You're going to be building relationships with other cash buyers at meetups, at auctions. So you're going to be the one finding that end buyer. So for a quick little example, a wholesale is when you go under contract with the seller for, let's say, $90,000, you have that, then you are able to market the property yourself, reaching out to buyers to see if they're willing to buy it at a certain price. And you want to make sure that price is a higher amount than what you got it for. So if you got it for $90 and you want to make $10,000, maybe put it out for $102,000, because there's always going to be buyers that want to negotiate. And then you guys agree upon, let's say, $100,000. So once you go and find that end buyer, you will give them an assignment agreement, which is assigning your rights from your initial agreement to that end buyer. And they will sign that assignment agreement for $100,000. And then after that is signed and you guys go to the closing table with both agreements, then you would get your $10,000. The seller would get their 90, you get your 10, and the buyer would be purchasing the property for $100,000. So that is what a wholesale is in a nutshell, but let me break down a real life example of how we utilize wholesale in our company without a license. So for this wholesale lead we got, our cold caller was calling and found a seller that wanted to sell. Turns out this seller was going through the probate process. And guys, I've done a lot of probate deals. And down below, I'll have my probate playbook, so it will show you how you can start crushing it with probate deals. But with that being said, let's get right back into it. And as she was cold calling for seller leads and came across this probate lead, the seller was like, yes, I do want to sell. So she made sure to set that appointment up. And my partner at the time, he went on that appointment and they were negotiating back and forth, but came to the price of $192,500. Now, during this time, I believe we were back and forth. So on vacation, where my partner was on vacation for 1 week and then I was on vacation. And when I came back from vacation, I was the one showing the end buyer the property because we sent it to them. We showed them the price of what we wanted it for. We showed them the condition of what it's looking like. We had photos so they can see what the photos were looking like as well. And once they saw the front side of things, they're like, okay, we want to take the next step and actually go inside the property and see what the property is looking like for ourselves. So once they told us that, I was the one that showed our end buyers the property and we walked through it, as you can see, and they told us that they wanted it. And guys, the price that we told them was $215,000. So remember, we got it for $192,500. We told them $215,000 and they were on board. So we made sure to get that assignment agreement for $215,000. And we already had the property under contract with the seller. We gave it to the title company. They ran the title search and everything like that. And then they let us know of our closing date and we were able to close. The buyer was happy, the seller was happy, we were happy, and we were able to walk away with $22,500 from a wholesale deal. And again, this was without utilizing a real estate license. Now, I do want to point out that some states are diving deeper with wholesaling, so make sure you reach out to a real estate professional within your local area to see if real estate wholesaling is still available for you to be able to do. Now, the third way where you can start doing real estate deals without a license is called fix and flips. And I feel like everyone heard of fix and flips, but they get a little nervous about it, or they always think like you need a real estate license to do it. But no, you do not need a license at all. And for those that don't know what a fix and flip is, that's when you get a property at a discounted price and you purchase it with either your own cash, private money, or hard money. You can get a bank loan, but I mean, it can be a little iffy. You're typically gonna see investors purchasing their fix and flips with private or hard money and then rehabbing it up, making sure that it looks beautiful, and then putting it back on the market for a profit. So that's what a fix and flip is. Now let me talk to you about how we utilize fix and flips and how we done a real life example. So I was cold calling and I came across a seller that said they wanted to sell, but they didn't think they could due to their house having mold in it. And literally when she said that, I was like, oh shoot, investor alert went off in my mind, and I made sure to schedule that appointment. Now, with this being my very first fix and flip, I was not sure what to do in regards to running numbers or anything like that. I was just like, let me do step one, make sure I go to the property, meet with the seller, and see where she needs to be at in regards to price. So I met with the seller, I walked to the property. I did see that the property had mold, and I talked to the seller about different options we could do. But like I said, I didn't know exactly what I was doing since this was my first go around and becoming a real estate investor and doing my first fix and flip. So I reached out to a friend of mine. He actually came back to the property with me, walked it as well. We ran our numbers after the fact, and then I connected back with the seller and told her that we could do a cash offer for this price, or this is what it would be worth for the market value if you were to list it on the market. And she decided to go the cash offer price, you know, an as-is sale, and that price was $135,000. So like I said, with this being my very first fix and flip, I decided to bring a partner on just so he could teach me through the ropes of everything. And we were just doing a JV, which is a joint venture. And a joint venture is basically just stating an agreement where you guys are doing this deal 50-50 or 70-30, whatever the case may be upon what you and your partner at that time agree upon. And in this case, this deal was 50-50. So he brought the contractor along with the hard money lender. So that's how we got financing and got a contractor for the deal. We got the deal all situated and then listed the property on the market for $225,000. Now at this time, this market was going insane and we got multiple offers, and we ended up closing on the property with a buyer that paid cash for $255,000. And that is completely insane. And that made us walk away with a profit of roughly $63,000. So he was getting around $31,500 and I was getting around $31,500 for profit for my first fix and flip. So that was pretty good. Thank God. I literally would not be able to do this without him. So I'm very appreciative of that. But that is a way where you can also make money without having a real estate license. Now, the fourth and final way that you can start doing real estate deals without a license is buying rental properties. And this is a great way for someone that wants to build passive income. When it comes to buying rental properties, you can buy them on the market or you can buy them off the market. Now, me personally, I like buying them off market and going direct to seller just because you can get deeper discounted deals, but it's up to you on how you do it and how you run your numbers. You just want to make sure when you are buying these rental properties that you're running your numbers correctly and also making sure that they cash flow a good amount of money each month, because things are going to happen. You may have to deal with repairs, things breaking. So just make sure to take that into account. But let me dive into a real life example of how we were able to acquire a rental property without having a real estate license. So like I said, I like buying properties off market and going direct to seller. So the way we were able to get this rental property was going directly to the seller and sending the seller a text message. And this was for a 5-unit apartment building. The seller texted us back and said, yes, they are interested in selling for the price of $165,000. Now, I went on that appointment, I walked all the units, met with the tenants, and saw that the property actually wasn't in that bad of a condition for being at such a cheap price. And after the fact, I went and reached out with my mentor, talked to him about it, and also talked to my business partner at the time. And we were just running numbers and seeing if this was a good deal. And once we broke it down to our mentor, he was like, you guys definitely got to buy this. This is a home run. And we ended up purchasing the property, not with any of our own money. We used private financing to fund 100% of the purchase price, rehab, and closing costs. And with that being said, we roughly had to bring around $212 just for us to close on the property, which is insane. And we made sure to budget $65,000 for our rehab. So we purchased it for $165,000, budgeted $65,000 for our rehab. And after we repaired the property and were able to raise the rents to where they needed to be since they were really low, and we renovated just about almost every single unit except for one. And after doing all that, we made sure to get the property appraised just so we can refinance the property and pay off our initial lender. And the property appraised for $650,000. Like, that is completely insane. But that is just one way of how we purchased a rental property. We have done this multiple of times with us building our rental portfolio from 0 to 22 units in only 18 months and did not need a license in any part of the process. So that is the 4 main ways that you can start doing real estate deals today without a real estate license. And guys, I showed you everything. Like, I've done these things myself. So if I can do it, so can you. And if you guys want to see free ways where you can start generating real estate leads to get these real estate deals, you're going to want to make sure you watch this video next.